I'm Madeline Allen, and the theory that I chose to discuss the topic of fossil fuels and climate change is the Mertens theory. Now, the Mertens theory falls into the paradigm of functionalism. And in a functionalist society, all members contribute to the harmonious flow of the society. So members from different social classes are contributing jobs and resources to create and maintain an equilibrium or a balance for the society to remain in a smooth flow. That being said, there is very little to almost no conflict that occurs in a society of a functionalist. And if there was to be some conflict that occurred, the members of the society would try their best to avoid the conflict if at all possible. However, Robert K. Merton suggested that no matter what paradigm your society falls into, there will be some conflict that occurs. This conflict can either be a consequence to an intended or an unintended action that is occurring in the society. Now, Merton described these consequences as being functions, and the functions were manifest and latent function. Now, a manifest function is a function or a consequence that is based on a intended and an obvious action that is happening in society. For example, of our topic of fossil fuels and gas, our fossil fuels are being produced for this gas, and the gas that we are using can either be for heating or for running our automobiles. Now, that is what it is intended for, and that helps us get around. I mean, our automobile helps us get to and from work that we need to go, or places that we need to go, heating for our house when it's cold out, And so that is what the intended action and intended consequence is for that fossil fuels. Now, the complete opposite of that would be the latent function. The latent function is a function or consequence that is based off of an unintended and a very hidden action that is happening in society. With the fossil fuels, the unintended and hidden action would be the burning of fossil fuels and how that's contributing to global warming and the depleting of our ozone layer. This was not intended for when we decided to create these fossil fuels in this gasoline. The intention was for the heating and the automobiles and stuff like that you would use every day, not the depleting of the ozone layer that is creating us to have this global warming and a climate change. However, this did happen, and this latent function is happening as we speak today. And this cannot be ignored. This is so big that it cannot be ignored, and action needs to be taken to stop this and to improve and build onto this manifest function, but decrease the latent function. That being said, I'm going to talk a little bit about what our topic is. And our topic is based on oil companies, and Exxon was one of them in particular, but oil companies using this fossil fuel in their gasoline. Exxon was one that knew about this and had research done on their fossil fuels, and they hid it from the public. They didn't tell the public, and the public has recently found out about this crazy scandal, and they are very, very outraged, and they should be, because Exxon hid this latent function that was happening with their gasoline from the public, and they didn't take any action on it while they were hiding that. They just denied it, and they didn't tell anybody about this. And there was no action taken. They didn't take any procedures to come up with a resolution or to stop this from happening. They just let it happen. And this is so big that it's not just affecting the oceans and the coastal areas. This is affecting the entire planet that we are living on today. It is affecting plants, animals, humans. Everything is being affected by this. Now, I'm not going going to discuss the conflict between Exxon and the public, and Exxon's scandal that they are going through right now, and the secret that they kept, and the cover-up that they did. I'm not going to discuss that because I did most of my research based on the Merton theory, and the Merton theory is based on this latent function that is happening. And so the latent function, as I said before, was the function of these fossil fuels going and increasing our global warming an immensely amount. They are increasing it huge, that it's crazy, and it's out of control now. So I'm going to be discussing mainly about this latent function and what different areas that this latent function is affecting on the planet today. Most of my research was done online, and one of the main websites that I found very, very useful was called Student's Guide to Global Climate Change. Now, this was very useful to me because it talked all about, and it gave different examples of the different areas in the world being affected by this global climate change. And it was surprising to me because it wasn't just the areas that I thought it was going to be. There was many things like, there was the agricultural and water supply and energy source and stuff like that, that it was just crazy that I didn't even think about. Going back, we're going to talk about agriculture. For example, there's crop losses that are happening right now. And this is not just affecting the farmers and the animals out there. This is affecting humans, because it said that if one of the examples was that if there was an increase in temperature, that there would be an expected decrease in the production of corn for a 10 to a 30% chance. And that's a huge chunk just based on the increase in temperature. And this corn, everybody eats corn. So this affects not only just the plants and the animals, this affects humans as well. And they're saying that a lot of crops are decreasing because of drought and because of severe storms that are happening that they didn't predict and they've never seen before. Farmers don't know that this is going to happen, so they can't prepare for it just because of this climate change that is happening. Another thing that I wanted to discuss was the ecosystem and the different animals that make up the ecosystem. Now, every animal plays a huge role in the ecosystem, and they're saying that a lot of the animals are beginning to go extinct. It said about 1/4 of all animals could become extinct in the next 100 years if the global warming continues. And the extinction of these animals can play a huge part in our ecosystem. Each animal plays a role in the ecosystem, so by losing one, you could lose many other species due to that. And that's just crazy to think about, that you could lose so many animals just due to this one function that is happening right now that is man-made. And so there needs to be some action taking place. The last thing, and one of the biggest things that surprised me the most, was the effect it has on energy. And the thing that surprised me was because it's all based on hydropower. And I don't really know much about hydropower, but when I researched it, it's all about the production of electricity due to water. And without that, and without the rainfall, and without the snow that you're getting, you're not having as much water, and that production is not happening. Pretty soon, there will be a blackout because there will be no hydropower for those areas that do use hydropower. That being said, those areas are going to have to refer back to the burning of fossil fuels, which is crazy because that's the whole point of hydropower, is to get rid of fossil fuels. So something needs to be done from this latent function that is happening on the world around us today.